Many believe that intelligence is an extraordinary event, reserved only for moments of great discoveries or monumental intellectual achievements. However, from the avatar's perspective, true mastery lies in the small, invisible rituals that make up your daily life. Habits that the world often labels as eccentricities, oddities, or even character flaws are, in fact, the silent signs of a mind operating at a higher frequency. Today, we will uncover the psychology behind these everyday behaviors and understand how your brain uses these tools to govern itself, process information, and expand its consciousness. The first habit that often causes bewilderment in the eyes of others is the act of talking to oneself. Far from being a sign of mental confusion, this behavior is what psychologists call externalized metacognition. When you process your thoughts aloud, you're not just speaking, you're holding a board meeting with the only person capable of fully understanding the complexity of your ideas, yourself. Talking to oneself acts as a co-pilot for the mind, helping to debug thoughts, untangle complex ideas, and significantly increase focus and memory retention. Brilliant minds like Albert Einstein's were known for constantly muttering to themselves, transforming internal dialogue into a structural design tool for reasoning. It is an efficient way to organize mental chaos and transform abstract thought into a concrete action plan, serving as a guide for problem-solving and accelerated learning. Furthermore, while the world praises those who wake with the first ray of sun, there is a profound intelligence that awakens when the lights go out, the habit of being a night owl. Research indicates a clear link between nocturnal behavior and higher IQ scores, especially in areas related to abstract thinking, creativity, and innovation. Highly intelligent minds often possess biological rhythms that defy traditional patterns, remaining active when the rest of the world enters a state of rest. Some scientists suggest that this preference for unusual hours is an evolutionary trait of individuals drawn to new and original behaviors. The night offers a sacred vacuum, a distraction-free environment where the brain can operate at its maximum potential, exploring ideas that the conformity of the day often stifles. Figures like Charles Darwin, Winston Churchill, and Mozart were chronic night owls, using the silence of the early hours to nurture their genius. For the avatar, darkness is not an impediment, but the perfect setting for a mind that refuses to be governed by common biological cycles, seeking in the dead of night the clarity needed to shape the future. Often the world confuses organization with competence, but through the avatar's lens, true order is not what is seen on the surface, but what occurs in the depths of consciousness. The third habit that reveals a high-frequency mind is the harmonious coexistence with what we call creative entropy, or simply a messy workspace. For the common mind, scattered papers and misplaced objects are signs of laziness. For the wise, this chaos is a fertile ecosystem for innovation. Minds like those of Einstein, Mark Twain, and Steve Jobs operated in environments many would consider uninhabitable, as they understood that excessively clean spaces encourage the brain to play it safe, following conventions and rigid rules. Science confirms that disorganized environments free the mind from conventional thinking, allowing the eyes to capture random objects and the brain to make unexpected connections between them. When you are immersed in a great idea, organizing files or cleaning coffee cups becomes an irrelevant priority in the face of the urgency of discovery. Your mess is not a sign of negligence, but of a mind that prioritizes building new realities over maintaining appearances. The fourth sign, perhaps the most poetic and misunderstood, is what we call the echo of empathy, the tendency to develop an emotional connection with inanimate objects. Apologizing to a chair when bumping into it, naming your car, or feeling genuine guilt when discarding an old mug are not signs of childishness, but evidence of above-average emotional and creative intelligence. This phenomenon, known as anthropomorphism, reveals a brain that projects feelings and meanings onto the world around it, refusing to see reality as an empty and lifeless space. For the avatar, this sensitivity indicates that you possess extraordinary emotional broadband. Your mind does not draw a rigid line between what has a pulse and what does not. It recognizes the energy and history in everything it touches. This habit is directly linked to a greater capacity for social empathy and sharp imaginative thinking, proving that your oddity is, in fact, a depth of soul that most people, in their logical coldness, will never be able to achieve. The world often confuses frantic activity with productivity, but the avatar sees what is hidden: strategic efficiency, often mistaken for laziness. If you constantly seek the simplest path to solve a complex problem, you are not being negligent. You are demonstrating a superior mental architecture. Bill Gates stated that he would choose a lazy person for a difficult job precisely because they would find an easy way to get it done. Historically, great strategists observed that intelligent and lazy individuals were the most suitable for leadership, as they possessed the clarity to focus only on what is essential, eliminating wasted effort. Science corroborates that minds that appreciate deep thinking tend to be less physically active, as the brain prioritizes energy conservation for the cognitive challenges that truly matter. Your supposed laziness is, in fact, an incessant pursuit of optimization, an instinct that rejects waste in the name of absolute effectiveness. From this need for optimization arises the sixth mark: conscious rebellion against the status quo. While most blindly follow instructions out of social convenience, your mind triggers an automatic alert. But why? This thirst for deep understanding, instead of mere superficial acceptance, is what separates passive followers from the architects of reality. High-capacity minds possess a natural resistance to norms that do not withstand the scrutiny of logic. Think of figures like Ignaz Semmelweis, who faced the ridicule of the medical community to introduce hygiene practices that saved countless lives, simply by questioning a dangerous norm that everyone accepted as obvious. For the avatar, questioning authority and traditions is not an act of arrogance, but a non-negotiable commitment to truth. You don't refuse to go with the flow on a whim. You're too busy redirecting the river so that it serves logic and real purpose. The seventh habit that the world often confuses with coldness or shyness is your absolute need for solitude after social interactions. For the avatar, this is not a sign of weakness, but rather of mental maintenance. Research reveals that individuals with greater cognitive capacity often exhibit stronger traits of introversion. This occurs because your brain doesn't just hear words. It processes conversations much more deeply, analyzing a vast range of social cues and micro-expressions, which consumes immense mental energy. In fact, studies indicate that highly intelligent people may report less life satisfaction when they socialize excessively. Your mind operates on premium broadband, and to maintain this frequency, it requires silence for reflection and the flourishing of creativity. Therefore, if you need a complete reboot after a social event, don't feel guilty. Your brain is just clearing its cache to return to genius mode. Finally, the most powerful habit of all is your innate ability to act as a code deciphering machine. You perceive hidden connections and clues that most ignore: a change in a friend's tone of voice, a colleague's behavior pattern, or how a random event today perfectly connects to something you read years ago. Scientists call this pattern recognition, the fundamental basis of human intelligence. While the world sees chaos, your mind is constantly filtering out excess information to find what truly matters, connecting new data to its vast knowledge base to learn and solve problems at an alarming speed. This habit is the engine behind your aha moments and your ability to see beyond the surface, transforming what seems like magic to others into mere logical analysis for you. If you recognized yourself in these behaviors, understand that they are not flaws that need repair, but features of a mind that is curious, flexible, and courageous enough to think differently. The avatar teaches that in a world that often rewards conformity, your willingness to be authentic to your own complexity is, without a doubt, the smartest thing you will ever do. Honor your oddity, for it is the language of your intellectual superiority. Do not try to fit into molds made for lesser minds. Instead, learn to govern your own universe with the clarity that only your vision allows. If these words have brought peace to your spirit and clarity to your journey, you have found your place. Subscribe to our network to continue awakening the avatar within you. The journey toward mastery is profound, and with each discovery, you become more unshakable. See you in the next video.